Hello everyone and welcome to another video review by Centipede Geek. In this video I'll be talking about my thoughts and opinions on the AMC television series by the name of The Walking Dead. It'll be season 11, the most recent episode that has aired, which is episode 4 titled Rendition. And just so everyone knows, spoilers will be ahead. Pretty much what this episode is, we have the introduction of two different characters. We're reunited with the character of Leah. You'll remember her from season 10 as Daryl's previous love interest. She was only in one episode, but we're reunited with her, so we're learning where she has been this whole time and whether or not she left the cabin of her own free will and that whole storyline. And then we're introduced to a new villain by the name of the Pope, and that's pretty much what this episode is about. And so when you have the Pope, season 11 is an interesting season because it gives us a new villain. And with The Walking Dead, we've had our share of villains. We've had everyone from the Alpha and the Beta, just from a season or two ago. Then, obviously, everyone remembers Negan back from season 7 when he was introduced, or the end of season 6, that is. And then way back in season 3 and 4, we've had our villains. And there's never a short of villains when it comes to the AMC television series with the name of The Walking Dead. And our newest villain for season 11 is the Pope. So when you compare him to other villains, there needs to be a sort of sense of seriousness and intensity and just, in my opinion, a sort of grotesque and sickness to these villains that live in this post-apocalyptic world when you compare them to other villains, because the villain of the Alpha and the Beta, those are some really cool villains. So it's always nice to see if the new villains are going to be able to top some of the previous villains we've had in this show. So when you're watching the Pope, you're sort of getting a feel for him as he's getting closer to Daryl and Leah. And then there at the end, you really get a feel for the Pope and the lengths he's willing to go through just to show how powerful of a leader he is, and just to show everyone exactly how sick and demented, and just to show exactly to everyone what he is capable of doing, and overall his just sort of control on their community. And that's when he takes one of his own people. He finds out that one of his own brothers, or whatever you want to call him, he finds out that one of his own people turned his back on another and decides to throw him in the middle of that bonfire, or throw his face in there and hold his face down. And it makes Leah and Daryl and the whole group, and they kind of jump back in response, watch his face and his whole body pretty much just being burned alive right in front of him. And once you see this scene, in my opinion, it's almost like the turning point in the season. We're halfway through now. It's crazy to think it's only going to have 8 episodes, and then after those 8 episodes, I'll assume that the show is going to take a break and then come back in a couple of months. So that final episode will be episode 8, titled For Blood, and that'll air on October 10th of 2021, later on this year, here in just a couple of weeks. But in my opinion, this scene right here is the turning point in the series. We met the villain. He's the Pope, and we see exactly what he is going to do, and whether or not, we think at first that Daryl, Leah are left to die in this room, and that they turn their backs to them, they set the room on fire, and they left them. Little do we know, this was what you could call a trial by fire. They break out the window and they get out, and little do they know, the Pope and the group of people were watching their every action, and it was a trial by fire to pretty much see if these two were the chosen ones, to see whether or not that Leah and Daryl can be trusted. And now the Pope sees Daryl as one of their own, but deep down that even though they were able to survive this trial by fire, they were able to survive this thing that happened to them, there's going to come a time where they're obviously going to have to escape from the Pope's clutches and get out of his hair, and probably have to kill the Pope and maybe even a couple of members of his group while they're at it. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. The Pope is going to be an interesting character, an interesting villain to watch as Daryl and Leah grow closer and closer to him. And then at the end or sometime soon here in the next couple of episodes, maybe not until episode 9, whenever it comes back on later on this year or early next year, when they have to outsmart him and then escape from him and see where that goes. And will Leah be with Daryl by the end of this? Will he have to abandon her? Will Leah stay behind? Where are Leah's alliances? Is she more with the mercenary group? Is she with them? Or is she with Daryl? And where does Daryl align? Will he stay with this group or will he leave? That's kind of where this episode is. And overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm curious to see where the season goes from here. Episode 5, titled Out of the Ashes, is the next episode, and it will air September 19th, 2021. And obviously, if you have the AM Plus app, it always airs a week earlier, just in case you guys need to know that. Once again, thanks for watching another video by Centipede Geek for Season 11, Episode 4, titled Rendition of the AMC television series by the name of The Walking Dead. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below.